Hello everybody, this is Professor West. Welcome. In this video, I'm going to be describing one of the more complex and more advanced object-oriented programming concepts called polymorphism. To do so, I'm going to be using the Java programming language to help me. The concept of polymorphism is pretty simple. We basically create a superclass and set it up, and then we have subclasses that are derived from it that we can call based on the situation. Let me give you a real-world example first. So don't worry if that doesn't make sense. We'll get to it. Let me give you a real-world example first. Imagine you have a superhero, and this superhero has tons of powers. They have flying, they have super speed, they have super strength, they have lasers to shoot out their eyes, whatever you can think of, they've got. But the catch is they can only use one power at a time, and the situation determines which power they need. So for example, a child chasing a ball runs out into a busy street. Our superhero has to switch to super speed and run over there really fast and save this kid. In doing so, one of the cars sees the kid and swerves, and now they're heading for a cliff. So our superhero has to get in front of the car with their super speed and then switch to super strength in order to catch the car and stop it from going off the cliff. So the situation determines which power is needed. And we're going to do the same thing basically with code. So I have an online Java compiler up. I'm going to pause real quick and put some generic code up first, because you don't need to see me sit here and type all that. So your new code should appear in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, let me give you a quick rundown of what we've got here. I have the import scanner because we're going to be doing an input statement rather. We have our public class main with a capital M. Ordinarily, your class is whatever you saved your program as, but since this is an online one, they use capital M main for the name of the class and lowercase m main for the name of the main function or main method. So don't let that confuse you. Don't worry too much about that. I just wanted to explain it in case you saw main in two places. So we have our scanner set up. We output a line that tells them to choose 1 for flying, 2 for climbing walls, and 3 for speed. And then we accept it as choice. And of course then we close the scanner. We move down a little bit, and you see this line that says superhero hero. That's referring to our superclass, which is called hero. Give me 1 second, I'll add that in. Okay, so notice now up here at the top I have class superhero, and inside superhero I have a method called usePower, and inside that I have a system output println statement. All of our classes that are derived from this one will be set up similarly. So for now, give me a sec. Let me go back down here and get back to this part. We have superhero hero. So superhero is my class. This is going to be my superclass. And hero is basically going to be used as a variable for now. So don't think too complicated about that one. So if their choice was number 1, which meant they needed flying, then hero is a new, and see how it says flying here with the parentheses. So basically, I'm going to use that on this line, and it would be the same as saying flying dot use power. So let me come up and add the flying one real quick. Here's my flying class. It's going to be an extension of my superhero class, which is my superclass. By extending it, I'm taking all of the capabilities of this class and I'm putting it here. This is basically my template. This superclass up here is basically going to be my template for all of my classes that extend it. The only couple differences are, of course, the name and what's printed, and then also this curious little command here called @override. Let me take just a second and explain that to you. You do not have to have this command in your extensions. But it's a good idea. The reason is you're telling it that this next method, which is use power, is going to override the previous one. If I misspell this or I capitalize something incorrectly, remember Java is case sensitive, then this will trigger an alarm or an alert down here at the bottom and let me know that I thought it was going to override this function or this other method, but it didn't. And it wants to let me know that it didn't so that I can fix it. So this is actually a pretty useful little tool that's pretty neat. Okay, I've added the other extensions of the superhero class here. So I've got class flying, extend superhero, class climbing walls, extend superhero, and class super speed, extend superhero. These are all set up exactly the same. You know what to expect because you already seen it in the super class. Now I can go into these and make changes, of course. I don't just have to have it have an output line. And this is one of the things that makes it so powerful. If each of these had an array or a list or whatever, and maybe it's an array of their powers or an array of things they like or an array of bad guys they've caught, whatever, they're each going to be set up the same. So my code that calls this method could also have a line of code that goes through that list, whatever it is, the same. And that's extremely, extremely important that you be able to do stuff like that. It's one of the things that makes polymorphism so powerful. It allows us to reuse the same code again and again in different circumstances. So in this one, I've created flying. Well, I've also created climbing walls simply by making one or two little changes. So these are all pretty consistent from one to the next, which is another very important thing. You don't have to go out and scramble to try to set up each method differently because they're all already set up. You've already told it how you want it to look and feel. So between that and being able to reuse your same code, this is extremely powerful. It also really helps with maintenance of a program, because if you decide you need to add more superpowers or if you decide you need to make some changes, you don't have to figure out 25 different classes and how to update them or whatever. Once you figure out one, you can do the same thing to all the rest, basically, in most cases. Not in every case, but in most cases. So once it gets down to the bottom here, and it says, oh, okay, choice was 3, that's super speed. So this basically would be replaced by the word super speed here. So it'd say super speed use power. It would come up to my class super speed, which extended superhero, and run the use power command. And that's pretty much it. Now, like I said, you can do more to each of these, but this is the basic concept. So I recommend that you play around with it, test it out, try it for yourself, make some changes, and see what happens. That's the best way, in my opinion, to learn programming, is just to do it hands-on. So you can go back through this video and pause, and you can see each bit of code as I was explaining it. That way you can get it all. And make sure to let me know if you have any questions or concerns or comments, anything like that. I'm always happy to answer them. And other than that, I will see everybody in class. Bye, everybody.